So I'm approaching this video with what feels like just an exercise in futility because it's actually difficult. I wanted, since I've been going over different years of Bionicle recently, to talk about what I would consider my three best, and I'm going to use air quotes when I say that. It's obviously my opinion, but three best Bionicle sets of all time. Now, when I say a Bionicle set, my rules would impose that if you could go to the store and buy it off of store shelves, that it was officially a Bionicle set. That gives me a lot of leeway here, and so I have to start with my first, probably the most obvious one on this list, Kardas. So Kardas is an interesting set because it is actually a combination of three fantastic Titan sets in general, and the combination is amongst the best that we had seen officially from Bionicle. It's definitely not my favorite combination model by any means, but each of the individual component that goes into making it is excellent. And if you didn't want to build Kardas, you could build Axon or Brutaka or Vizon and Finrak, or even Botar if you wanted to, and still have Vizon and Finrak there. Plus you have a large assortment of parts within that to make your own character. 3 masks involved there as well, or I guess you could say 4, including Vizon's mask, since it flips around. It's very ugly on the second side, but the point still stands. I think that's the easiest answer. However, when considering my second set that I would recommend, I'm approaching it kind of from a very similar frame of mind, right? Sets that when purchased off of store shelves can be used to build more than one thing. I am somebody who designs Rahi, so my second choice was an easy one for me, but probably wouldn't hold up for other members of the fandom, and that is the Master Builder set from 2002, set 10023. I know the number of the set because I love it so much. You get a single box of 130 parts or so, and the ability to combine those parts to make 15 unique Rahi models. Some are definitely better than others. Some stand up to the test of time, while other ones, like, well, the snake build from that set, aren't so great. But at the very least, there's an admirable effort put into these sets and these designs, and there's plenty more that you can do with the set. I've talked about my bunny build, which I brought up recently as well in a previous video. I've talked about my vulture build, which I have sitting just slightly off screen, and it's one that I really love and I think really takes advantage of the full array of parts that come in that set, and it doesn't even use the expensive body panel piece. But that said, that's a set that came out in 2002, and of course the aftermarket has meant that at least one piece from that set, that body piece, has gotten terribly expensive. It really shouldn't be that price, but whatever. That said, third, this was the hardest one for me to choose because I wasn't sure where I would fall on this. There are obviously other combination sets you can consider, like the Ultimate Duma set, but I'm going to be honest, those 3 builds back there are not my favorite Titan or box set builds from Bionicle, far from it. And the combination that they make, while definitely fun to build for the first time with some really interesting solutions for some precarious problems given the restrictive parts used there, is not my favorite. I'm just going to be honest. So although yes, you would get 3 different builds out of that set as well, none of them are ones that I would hold up to a high standard. And so instead, I think my third combination here would have to be Takuda Nuva, another set you could buy off of store shelves. And the reason for this is because although Takuda Nuva is definitely an interesting set, he's not actually what I'm interested in here. I love the aesthetic of Makuta from 2002, or from 2003 rather, looks incredible. He's not a perfect set, don't get me wrong. He does have some stability issues, the function is a bit lackluster, but when you have him built, he's a very buttoned up set. He looks exceptional, and he's just begging to be revamped and modified. The mask, of course, is a fantastic mask as well. And with that set, not only do you get a mask on it that is reversible, but you also get the 2 Evoki masks on its hands in silver as well, leading you to getting 3 masks. But with the Takuda Nuva set, you get what? 7 masks? Because you also get Takanuva's gold mask, Plus, you get Takanuva's special edition mask, which is clear with a glitter lacquer over the top of it, or I guess a glitter clear coat over the top. And you get old dark gray Hao, which is exclusive to Takanuva set, and of course the Takuto Nuva set as a whole. And if you had bought the Takuto Nuva set off of shelves, you also got the movie edition Kurkan as well. Again, none of these masks are my favorite, don't get me wrong, but that has to be the most masks off of any shelf set that isn't an accessory pack, right? But what about accessory packs? Because they still technically fall into the array of rules that I've come up with for this. They were on the store shelves. The reason I don't consider the accessory packs terribly high on my list is because although you do get a lot of parts, a handful of different masks, sometimes Krana, sometimes Krata, really just depends on when you buy into them. Tons and tons of weapons, don't get me wrong. Sometimes you get enough pieces to build, you know, a full-on figure or 2 or 3 canister sets, sure, but the canister sets that were often involved in these accessory packs were all clones of each other, right? Vaki, Rakshi pieces, the 2003 Matoran, some Borak pieces, things like that. And so, yeah, you might get a canister set out of these accessory packs, but even if you got 2, 3, 4, or more, they're clones of each other, right? So they're not terribly interesting on their own. I don't think accessory packs are a bad choice, don't get me wrong. They're just not high on my list. And the thing is, this also ignores 2007, 2008, 2009, some of my favorite years from Bionicle. But the reason I didn't include any sets from them here is just because you obviously have issues with the fragility of parts from 2007, 2008. Of course, the vehicles from 2008, I think, are wonderful in their design. But again, also you run into that problem of what can I do with this singular set after I'm done with its parts? I definitely think you could build something your own from a set like Jetrax or what have you. Like, those are excellent choices, don't get me wrong. But I just think that I would derive the most fun as a kid from these 3 choices because of what I can do with the parts when I get bored with their build. Because at the very least, with a set like the Jetrax, you get 1 mask. I can build 1 character out of it. I can slap a few other things on there, sure. But with something like Takuto Nuva, I got lots of masks to play with. With something like the Kardas, lots of masks. And although, yes, you only get 1 mask with the Master Builder set as well, 15 creatures is not such a bad thing. So that's pretty much it for this one, guys. So let me know your thoughts. What are your top 3 choices for Bionicle sets? It could be Generation 1 or Generation 2, as long as they hit retail shelves. And you can be really picky with this stuff too. You could say the McDonald's and Matoran because they appeared on shelves in like 1 country, or the ones where like you got a Bionicle set and a t-shirt in a box, or you got the little like face mask plus a... There's some really peculiar and fun Bionicle sets out there, so I'd implore you to take a look around. Of course, make sure to subscribe, helps the channel out, and as always, links are in the description. Take care.